Hello everyone, welcome to Techadrian Academy. In this video, we are going to be talking about Bootstrap 5 form validations. So it says form validation. You can use different validation classes to provide valuable feedbacks to users. Add either was validated class or needs validation to the form elements, depending on whether you want to provide validation feedback before or after submitting the form. The input field will have a green valid or red invalid border to indicate what's missing in the form. And you can also add a valid feedback or invalid feedback message to tell the user explicitly what is missing or needs to be done before submitting the form. So let's move. So we have, in this example, we use was validated to indicate what's missing before submitting the form. So let's go. So we already created a form here. Then we can give it class. We'll say was validated. Then after that, inside this form, we'll give it a div. And inside this div, we'll give it class, which will be MB, which is 3, and NT, which is 3. Then after this div, inside this div, we are going to make use of label. And inside this label, it will be for F name, or yes, or we can use uname. Oh, uname. Then after that, we'll give it class. And inside the class, we'll give it form label. Then it will be username. This place is NAME. Yes. Then after this label, we'll give it input. And inside this input, the type will be text. And we'll also give it class. Type will be text. And we'll give it class also, which will be form control. And we'll give it ID. ID, which will be uname. And we'll give it place ID, which will be uname. And then we'll give it placeholder, which will be enter user name. And we'll also give it name, which will be uname. So we're going to add required to this one. So this makes it required. Yes. Then after this input, we're also going to create another div. Inside this div, what do we want to have? We'll give it class valid. I made mention of valid feedback. Then inside here, we'll say valid. Then after that, so inside this valid again, we will also create another div. Then after this div again, we're also going to create another div, which will be class invalid feedback. They will say, please fill the form out. Then after this div, what next are we going to do? Then that's all about that. Then we'll come out of this div, we'll create another div. Then inside this div, we're going to give a class margin bottom, which will be 3. Then inside this one, we'll create a label. We'll say label. And inside this label, we'll say for password, PWD. Then we'll give it class, which is form label. Then we'll come here, we'll say password. And we're also going to give this password. Then let's come here. After that, we'll create input. And inside this input, we'll give it type, which will be password. Then after that, we're going to give a class, which the class will be form control. Then we're going to give it ID, which will be PWD. Then we're going to give it a placeholder, which will be enter password. Then we'll give it a name, which will be PSWD. Then after that, we can now say required. I think in this place too, the name we gave it, required. This is okay. Then we can, after that, we're going to create another div inside it. Div, which this div will give it class valid feedback, which will be valid. Then after that, we'll create another div again, which will be class. We give it class invalid feedback, and we'll say, please fill out this form. Please fill out this form. Then after all of this, we're going to create another div. And inside this div, we'll call it class form check, and we'll give it margin. Oh no, we'll give it margin bottom, which will be 3. Then inside this div, we'll come here, and inside this input, what do we want? We'll give it class. Form check input, and we'll change the type to text to checkbox, and we'll give it ID, which will be my check ID, which will be my check, and as well we'll give it name. Remember that is all this. Remember me name, which is member. Then outside it, we can now say required. Then after that, we're going to create a label to say label. Then inside this label, we'll give it a class. And inside the class, it will be form check label. Then inside this form check label, we'll say for, which is check, for my check, and I'll come here, I'll say I agree on this. Then after that, we can then let's just create a copy of this. And throw it inside there too. Then after that, we're going to create a button. Then inside this button, we'll give it class with type, and we'll give it class. So let's format this. Alt Shift F. So yeah, here is it. Now let's check it out. So what we just did now is form validation. Can you see? So this is form validation. Once you check, can you see it's valid? Once I start typing, can you see it is telling me it's valid? If I also turn this here, it's telling me it is valid. But without anything inside, it is indicating that please give this form. And if I uncheck this too, this is it. So that is that for form validation. Let's move for form validation. Thank you for watching this video. Please do well to follow us across all socials at Tech Academy. See you next time. Bye.